They said turn-based was dead. They said it was out of date. They said action combat is the future. They were wrong. I have spent the last 10 hours playing through Expedition 33, and I'm calling it that because I'm not sure if it's Clair Obscur, I'm not sure the first bit. So we're going to go Expedition 33 in a created preview, and my hype levels are absolutely off the charts. Now, if you're not familiar, Expedition 33 is the debut title from Sandfall Interactive. Set in a dark and harrowing world, the game follows the journey of a group of expeditioners sent out to break the cycle of death itself. Even with the brief glimpse that we get into the narrative during the preview, I'm already hooked. It's such a dark premise. Each year, the paintress wakes, painting a cursed number on her monolith. A year later, everyone of that age across the entire world dies. They turn to smoke and fade away. Your Expedition 33, so think of all the people that already died, led by Gustav, who shares an uncanny resemblance with that dude from Twilight. Like, honestly, look, it's not just me, right? There's something there. Walking through different environments, you see the remnants of previous expeditions, camps and bodies that are left behind, recordings of their demise. It's a constant reminder of death and failure, but with each step towards the paintress, there is still hope. I absolutely love the tone of this story, the impending doom that influences every decision the group makes. It had me hooked right from the word go, and even with the limited time I had in there, like, I'm yearning for more. I really want to see more so about the history of the other expeditions, to be honest, how far they got, what ends they met. There's just so many questions I've got, and this is only sort of a 4-hour window, and it kind of drops you into the middle of stuff. So we didn't get to see the very beginning of the game. So, you know, I've got so many questions just from the slice I've seen, and I think people are going to absolutely love the narrative. It is so good with just the bit I've seen. Going to be completely honest with you here. When this game was first announced, the combat is what drew me in, and that's what I'm here for. I am a huge fan of turn-based combat games. I do not buy into this narrative that it is old-fashioned, that it doesn't work, that it's not as good as action. It's complete rubbish. There is definitely a big market out there for it still. I'm not sure how big, but there's definitely a market out there for it, and I really want to see more developers try and push the envelope, and it's exactly what we've got here. We are enjoying a bit of a resurgence with the likes of Baldur's Gate 3 and Metaphor ReFantazio leading the charge, and I have to say, I'm going to be adding Expedition 33 to that list moving forward. We've had hybrid systems before, bridging the gap between turn-based and real-time combat systems, so the effort is nothing new, but the delivery, it feels so fresh. It's fast, really fast. If you string together your actions, it almost feels real-time. It could be really quick. We only had access to 3 characters during the preview, but each of them have got their own unique combat style and mechanics. Gustav, who's like the main guy, focuses on building up charges to unleash a devastating gauntlet attack. Loon powers up her own abilities through elemental chains, so she can like hit something with fire, which then leaves a fire stain on it, and you can activate that stain with other abilities to kind of trigger an additional effect. It's really cool. And then Mael, I forgot her name, abilities, she can sort of have different stances: defensive stance, offensive stance, virtuoso stance. Her different abilities trigger together to swap stances to increase her effectiveness in battle. So each of these is deep enough just to be a standalone combat feature by itself. But together they deliver a constantly evolving strategic turn-based system that even only after 7 or 8 hours of playtime, it's so deep. Combat builds are really varied and powerful. Pictos are these sort of ability items you can find lying around. You can get them in chests. You can equip them to provide passive abilities, and some of these are, you know, massively increase your attack damage, increase your counter damage, allow you to chain stuff better. Just with what I've seen, there's already so much variety on offer, and the best thing about these, you can put them up and equip them on a character, and they will have the abilities associated with that picto. You can then also use a character's lumen points to be able to assign the trait to them even if they haven't got the item. So it's kind of like a passive mana system. Let's say you've got 5, you can then use 5 points worth of pictos that are equipped on other people. So this allows you to just, there's so much freedom and creativity with the builds. And that's not really something I remember a lot from the sort of turn-based days. It was kind of just, this is the best stuff you've got, you're going to put it on, you're good to go. But you can customize all your stats and that as well, so there's so much there. And then comes the true icing on the cake, the reactive-based elements. Whether attacking or defending, most skills and abilities come with reactive elements. Perfectly timing swings for additional effects and damage on your weapons, powering up spells, ramping up your healing. The strategy of the turn-based system is rewarded with skill of the real-time system like few games have done before. You're rewarded for the ability to think, to sort of prioritize which abilities you're going to use, when you're going to link the combos together, and then you're also rewarded further for being able to sort of real-time the button mashing and the button prompts and get it just right. So it's kind of like a double whammy of the best of both worlds, and for the player that is just so satisfying. One of the things I enjoyed most about the combat was running into new enemies and learning their attacks. So the enemies so far, very, very basic. I've seen the trailer and there's some real crazy stuff later on, but these guys, it's kind of a mix of maybe 2 or 3 different attacks. So the first time you run into them, you're probably going to get smashed around a bit as the animations and sound effects takes a bit getting used to, but before long you'll be dodging every hit and parrying every blow. It's so rewarding both visually and mechanically, watching as your entire party evades and attack in unison just to unleash a huge combo in return. It really creates some epic moments, even in just sort of grunt battles where you're just fighting farming stuff. It's just, I don't know, it's difficult, and I don't think you're going to be able to see it much in a video. It's kind of, you have to sort of do it to experience it, but it's just, it's fast, it's responsive, and it's also strategy based like the turn-based games of yesteryear. It perfectly encompasses both systems in a way that I think turn-based players will love it. I don't know if it's quite enough for the action guys to get into it, but we'll have to see. Running around the game world, which is absolutely beautiful, by the way. It's a fantastic art style. There is a bit of haze going on. Not sure if that's a design choice or a technical limitation, but other than that, the locations are actually beautiful. We got to see several locations. There's a large sort of manor house, this underwater kind of area that was absolutely gorgeous, and then the starting area that was a bit morbid, but again, looked absolutely fantastic. There's not a lot of choice in terms of exploration. It is quite a linear based game, but every area does have branching paths off. There's tons of chests to find and little loot baubles you can pick up, hidden bosses you can take down, a couple of minor platforming puzzles and some locked boxes that can be opened by shooting nearby locks. It's very basic stuff, but it breaks up the monotony of just running down a corridor, so it's not too bad. And despite its linear nature, the constant threat keeps things interesting. So healing is limited in the overworld, with potions and enemies respawning when you reach campfire locations, a bit like Dark Souls style, often giving the player that choice of, do we continue and push through, or do we go back, heal, learn somewhat any attacks and try again? It's just a constant decision of how much further do I want to push this before it bites me in the ass. And it will happen a lot. You know, you'll run into a boss for the first time and immediately get shit mixed because you missed your dodge. Just one single attack can wipe you out if you don't go in prepared. Even if you're prepared, you don't know the boss's moves yet, you're going to have to adapt or you will die. It's cutthroat and it's challenging, which makes the exploration even more challenging because you don't know what's around the next corner. You've really got to watch your back. And then we get to the world map, and boy, do I miss these. Again, it's only a small slice, but even in the tiny corner of the world we got to explore, there's a hidden boss tucked away that completely destroyed me. I've still not beaten him yet. I'm going to do some grinding, give him a shot, but he's pretty rough. There's sort of enemies tucked away to fight. There's items to find. It's an old school feature, but it's another part of the sort of turn-based genre that I just don't think has had enough modern love. There is so much that can be done with it. You know, if you've ever played the old sort of the original Final Fantasies, that kind of stuff where you're exploring the game world and there's massive things just hidden away in secrets and places. I don't know, it always felt so fun and so rewarding. We don't really get that nowadays, but the world map so far, it looks gorgeous, as with the rest of the game. Just in this tiny slice, as I've said, there is some hidden stuff, a hidden boss fight, so I'm sure there's going to be plenty of stuff to look forward to. And I really want to see the whole map. I really want to see the whole map, but this is looking really good. And probably alongside the combat and the story, and yeah, no, I'm looking forward to all of it pretty much universally, to be honest. Expedition 33's combat really got my attention when it was announced, but the harrowing narrative, the dark setting, everything is right up my alley. And bar a few frame drops during cutscenes, everything about this preview impressed the fuck out of me. I played on a mix of high and maximum settings, and it was just a couple of frame drops and a couple of cutscenes, which is strange because some of the combat is really flashy, no issues there at all. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is available to pre-order now with a standard digital deluxe, Lumiere and collector's edition available. It is launching for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Steam and Epic on the 24th of April 2025. Just a quick note on the nature of previews. It is not uncommon in previews to be asked not to mention specific elements, bugs, issues, story points, etc, etc. we had no such restrictions on this whatsoever. It was pretty much, here's a preview build, here's some cool facts about the game, we hope you love it, have a good time. So this is all just completely everything. There is nothing cut out here. I've not been forced to not talk about any of the negative issues. This is exactly as I've experienced the game, and I've had so much fun with it. Live streaming is permitted from today onwards, so keep an eye out on your favorite channels if you want to see more of the game. And if you guys have any specific questions, post a comment below or reach out to me on Discord, and I help you out if I can. Take care now.